Picture this. You're traveling in a foreign country, literally having the time of your life, when out of nowhere, you start to feel awful. Maybe it's a sudden spike in fever or this really sharp pain. You realize pretty quickly you need to go to a hospital. But there's a huge catch, right? You have to navigate the entire medical process in English. Look, it's completely normal for your heart rate to just skyrocket at the mere thought of that. Trying to explain your symptoms when you're already feeling miserable, that's intimidating for anyone.
So welcome to today's Explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled to guide you through this, because today we are going to turn that terrifying scenario into a total walk in the park. We're going to take a chronological, step-by-step, patient's journey approach. From the very second you walk through those hospital doors to the moment you pick up your prescription, we're going to master the exact English phrases you need. The ultimate goal here? To equip you with the tools to feel entirely comfortable and, honestly, super confident in literally any medical setting.
To make this super easy, we've broken our journey down into 5 clear steps. First, urgent help and arrival. Second, describing your symptoms. Third, asking the pharmacist. Fourth, routine checkups. And finally, building your speaking confidence. All right, let's just dive right in.
Section 1. Urgent help and arrival. Arriving at the hospital. Because look, when you're in real distress, you don't want to be desperately racking your brain for the right words, right? You want them to just be automatic. These essential urgent expressions are basically your lifelines in an emergency. So, I actually want you to read them out loud with me right now. Building that muscle memory is absolutely key. Ready? I need immediate medical attention. Where is the emergency room? I am experiencing severe pain. Please call a doctor. Speaking these aloud literally trains your brain to access them instantly when you're stressed out. Awesome job.
Okay, so let's shift gears and look at a standard non-emergency arrival. Here's a super typical 4-step sequence when you walk up to that reception desk. First, you request a doctor. Good morning. I would like to see a doctor. Now, the receptionist might ask if you have an appointment. If you don't, hey, no big deal. You simply say, nope, I do not have an appointment. Step 2, they'll probably hand you a clipboard and say, could you please fill out this form? Step 3, you just take a seat in the waiting area. And step 4, a nurse calls your name, asks how you're feeling, and says, let me check your temperature. Just like that, you've smoothly made it through the front doors without missing a beat.
Moving on to Section 2. Role play, describing your symptoms. Talking to the doctor. Now, what's really fun about this next part is we actually get to role play the most intimidating part of the whole visit, talking directly to the doctor in the examination room.
So, when the doctor asks you what brings you here today, I want you to actively play the role of the patient here. Go ahead and read your answer out loud for me right now. I have had a fever and headache since yesterday. Perfect. See, you're clearly stating exactly what's wrong and how long it's been going on. The doctor might then ask you to describe your symptoms a bit more, and you could add something like, I feel weak, tired, and I have a mild cough.
Okay, let's try another scenario. Say you have some pretty severe stomach pain. The doctor examines you and asks, have you eaten anything unusual? Read your answer out loud again. Yes, I ate food from a street vendor yesterday. Honestly, this is such a common traveler's scenario. By stating exactly what you ate and when, you're handing the doctor exactly what they need to figure out the root cause.
And then? Well, then comes the absolute best part of the visit. You ask, is it serious? And the doctor replies, no, it is not serious. You just need rest and medication. Take a deep breath. Your anxiety just melts away. You handled that entire diagnostic conversation flawlessly, and now you're officially on the road to recovery. The doctor will probably tell you to drink plenty of water and get enough sleep, and you just reply with a simple, I will follow your advice.
Section 3. Asking the pharmacist. Getting your medicine. So, the crucial next step is moving right from the doctor's office over to the pharmacy to actually pick up your prescription. The consultation isn't quite over just yet.
When you hand the pharmacist your prescription, they're going to give you some basic instructions, right? Something like, these medicines should be taken after meals. But there is one question that honestly stands way above the rest. How many times a day should I take them? I really want to highlight this as literally the single most important question you can ask a pharmacist. Nailing your dosage is absolutely critical for your safety and, of course, your recovery.
And this table right here brilliantly illustrates how a pharmacist will typically break down your instructions into 3 neat little categories. First up is timing. So in this case, after meals. Second is dosage. Twice a day for 5 days. And third, side effects. You should always ask, are there any side effects? Here, the pharmacist notes you might feel slightly sleepy.
By organizing their advice into these 3 mental buckets, you ensure you never leave that hospital feeling confused about your meds. Section 4, routine visits and checkups. Preventative healthcare. Let's pivot to our next scenario and see how this all builds into lower stakes, everyday health visits. Because hey, you won't always be visiting the hospital for a crazy emergency or a sudden bug. A lot of the time, you're just there to maintain your health. I want you to notice the complete contrast in the language here. We're shifting from those urgent symptoms we discussed earlier, the fevers and the severe pain, to a much more relaxed tone. When you're just maintaining your health and the doctor asks how you've been feeling, you simply say, "I've been feeling fine. I am here for a routine health checkup." The whole vibe shifts completely. It goes from being highly investigative and urgent to being totally relaxed and preventative. During these routine checkups, the doc will definitely ask about your lifestyle. They might ask, "Do you exercise regularly?" And you can reply by describing your awesome preventative habits. "Yes, I walk every day." When they ask about your diet, you just say, "I try to eat balanced meals." The doctor will probably just smile and tell you to keep up the good habits. These are really wonderful phrases to practice because they celebrate your daily health choices in very natural conversational English.
All right, Section 5, building your speaking confidence, empowering yourself. Finally, let's wrap up our journey today by focusing on your mindset, because knowing the vocabulary, that's really only half the battle. The other half is actually believing you can use it when it counts. So let's look at some really empowering psychological tools.
I want you to say this sentence out loud with me right now and say it with some real energy. I can communicate in English at a hospital. Come on, say it again. I can communicate in English at a hospital. Building that inner confidence always starts with affirming what you're truly capable of. Think about it. You've practiced the reception desk, the doctor's office, and the pharmacy. You've got the tools for this.
Let's keep that awesome momentum going. Read this next mantra aloud for me. I am not afraid of speaking English. Look, foreign medical settings can be super intimidating, for sure, but fear only blocks your memory. By consciously reminding yourself that you are not afraid, you actually relax your mind, which allows all these helpful phrases we learned today to just flow naturally when you need them most.
And finally, read this one aloud. I believe in myself. I really want you to internalize this. Every single time you practice these conversations, every time you repeat a medical phrase out loud, you're improving. You're becoming more confident, more fluent, and way more prepared for real-life situations. You are literally taking control of your health and your communication.
Which brings us to our final question to wrap things up. Are you ready for your next conversation? Because after walking through this entire hospital journey with me today, you absolutely are. You've got the essential urgent expressions down, you know exactly how to role-play your symptoms, you know what to ask the pharmacist, and your mindset is totally primed for success. The next time you find yourself navigating a foreign hospital, you won't be panicking, you'll be communicating clearly and confidently. So keep practicing, keep speaking aloud, and keep improving. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and stay healthy out there.